I have become that of which you fear most. A furry.
JK, everybody, just a Sully from Monsters, Inc. costume. It is I, Jesse, aka Survival Punk, aka the Wide Guard, aka, oh no, it's that guy. And boy howdy do I have a treat for you today. You see, today is Halloween, and Halloween is my favorite holiday. And in honor of the Halloween spirit, I wish to talk to you about one of, if not my favorite genres of horror. You see, I have consumed all things horror you can think of or imagine, from books to manga to anime, and everything mainstream and, not to mention just about every type of horror video game you can conceive of. So as you could imagine, when it comes to touching ground on new genres of horror or horror experiences that I have yet to witness, it's kinda tricky, which is why I quickly fell in love with after discovering the genre of analog horror. A genre that is kind of getting more mainstream, but is still obscure enough to warrant a video about it. So today, in honor of my favorite holiday, I'm going to be introducing you to one of my favorite genres of horror. Do enjoy.
Do not be afraid, my dear shepherds. I have great news. I am your true savior. I know everything about what makes you human. I know what you love. I know what you dread. We just love me inside now.
Analog horror. The genre that makes your grandma's old VCR feel like a portal to hell. First off, what the heck is analog horror? Picture this. It's the late 1980s. You're a kid, wrapped in a blanket, eating the most sugary cereal you could imagine. You're plopped in front of a bulky CRT TV that's heavier than your regret after sending that risky 3 a.m. text to your ex-girlfriend, just to be left on red. Not that I would know anything about that. Any horror. The screen flickers with grainy footage from a local access channel. Maybe some educational puppet show about fire safety. But then, flash. The colors invert, the audio warps into a demonic hum, and suddenly the puppets are warning you about the flesh that walks.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too.
Or some cryptic nonsense. You laugh it off as a technical hiccup, but deep down, you're unsettled. Because it feels real. Too real. Too invasive. That's analog horror. A style of horror media that mimics the aesthetics and limitations of analog technology. Think VHS, cassette tapes, old broadcast TV, and even early computer interfaces. This is to create an atmosphere of unease, nostalgia, and outright terror. It's found footage on steroids, but instead of Blair Witch shaky cams, it's like if your aunt's wedding video from 1992 was hijacked by interdimensional entities. The term analog horror itself is a bit of a modern invention, popularized in the early to mid-2010s on platforms like YouTube and Reddit. It draws from the word analog, which of course refers to pre-digital tech, where signals are continuous waves rather than binary code. In horror terms, this means embracing the imperfections, tape hiss, tracking errors, color bleeding, and that god-awful vertical hold failure that makes the screen roll like a drunk on a skateboard. Technical errors that are very common with media from the time period. Now, analog horror is often presented as found footage or lost media from public access TV, emergency broadcasts, educational videos, or home recordings. Think PSAs gone wrong. Horribly so.
How dare you!
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
A cheery cartoon about dental hygiene morphs into instructions on how to ascend by peeling off your fucking skin. Like an episode of Sesame Street that was written by H.P. Lovecraft and directed by John Carpenter on a bad acid trip. Common themes include alternate histories. What if reality shifted and no one noticed? Body horror. Your reflection isn't you anymore. And existential threats hidden in mundane signals. They are watching. They know that you know. Get out! Narrative techniques of the style are sneaky too. Analog horror loves ambiguity. No clear villains or jump scares. Just creeping dread. Stories unfold through fragmented clips with text overlays like, "Do not look away," flashing and blocky fonts. Sound design is key. Subtle whispers, reversed audio, or silence that's louder than a scream. It's ironic detachment. You know, it's fake, but the realism makes you question. So, why does analog horror work so well? Put simply, psychologically, it's a masterclass in unease. Nostalgia is a double-edged sword. We love the warm fuzzies of old tech, but it reminds us of the vulnerability of the 80s and 90s. It was a time before streaming and modern media. Back then, media was physical, degradable, and raw. Analog horror exploits this by subverting expectations. Happy kids shows, family movies, and innocent PSAs glitch and morph into nightmare fuel for the uncanny valley, where familiar things become alien. It's like finding a razor blade in your candy. Sweet at first, then ouch. Culturally, it's a reaction to digital overload. In a world of TikTok and doom scrolling, analog horror romanticizes slower, flawed media while critiquing it. Themes often touch on isolation, staring at a screen alone, misinformation, fake broadcasts, and a loss of reality. Deep fakes avant la lettre. Now, one criticism I can sling the direction of analog horror is that it tends to be repetitive and predictable. Like, super repetitive and predictable. I mean, how many glitchy PSAs can you watch before yawning? Additionally, there is a slight issue with accessibility, i.e., the glitchy effects, color flashes, and its overall lo-fi style can exclude those with sensory issues. But hey, that's horror. Divisive by design. Ultimately, it's horror for people who find irony in fearing the same tech that once played their Disney VHS collection. In conclusion, analog horror is the hilarious haunted house of genres. Creepy, clever, and comically committed to making outdated tech terrifying. So if I've piqued your interest and you're actually intrigued in checking out this genre of horror for yourself, here's some recommendations that I highly encourage you to check out, if you're in the Halloween spirit, that is. I highly recommend that you go to the YouTube channel of King Pixels. I love all his work. He's an amazing creator in the analog horror realm, and I can think of no better introduction to analog horror than his 3-part series, The Oldest View. I'm only going to show you a little bit of footage from it, as you can see here, and I'm going to be as vague as possible because I don't want to spoil it for you. You will enjoy it. But it is about a man who finds a strange staircase in the middle of the woods, and when he goes down, he finds a place that should not be there. Almost like an underground mall in the middle of the woods. Very strange. And it's about this character's exploration of the area. And that is as far as I am willing to go in terms of spoilers. You really should check it out for yourself. I really could not possibly recommend it more. I like cAnt Pixel's work a lot. He's really good with liminal spaces, as you will see when you watch The Oldest View for yourself. Another bit of work cAnt Pixels has done that I would love to highly recommend is his series on the Backrooms. Now, most of the people listening to this, as few of you as you are, thank you for being here, I love you, have already probably heard of the Backrooms before. But for those of you who haven't, the Backrooms is essentially a conceptual internet horror location that is talked about on blogs and places like Reddit and 4chan that is essentially a liminal space in between space-time and reality that you can accidentally slip into. It's very expansive. There's a lot of internet horror stories and video games that follow the concept. But what I'm talking about is cAnt Pixels has done a Backrooms analog horror series that is fucking fabulous, and I highly recommend you check that out as well. Now, after you check out those series over at cAnt Pixels, there is one more recommendation I would love to give you. If you enjoyed cAnt Pixels' work on The Oldest View and the Backrooms, but want a little bit more information or a more in-depth understanding of the story behind those videos, I could recommend no better YouTuber than that of Wendigoon. Now, with a name like Wendigoon, it doesn't take much imagination to get a good idea of what he's all about. Obviously, his channel is all about cryptids and conspiracy theories and niche internet genres, as well as a very expansive iceberg video catalog. But the reason I am recommending him to you today is he has done videos for both cAnt Pixels' The Oldest View, as well as cAnt Pixels' The Backrooms series. Now, those videos are very in-depth and quite a bit long, but they are honestly worth it, especially if you want to understand the work of cAnt Pixels that much better. And besides, Wendigoon is on God, a goat, and I couldn't recommend his YouTube channel more. And with that, I'm going to end this video here. Be sure to check out cAnt Pixels, be sure to check out Wendigoon, and as always, I hope you enjoyed. Happy Halloween! Oh, and by the way, you should really address that thing behind you that has been there the whole time.